And now, it's time for another Dice Tower review with Tom Vasel.
Hey folks, today we're going to take a look at an older game that I have. This one here is called Fabrik der Traum. It's called Traumfabrik. They also came out with a Dream Factory, and there was a couple other names for this game about making movies by Dr. Rainer Knizia. It's an auction game about making films. Now, before we get into how to play this game, which I think is very interesting, what you're going to be looking at here is my version of the game. Now, my version of the game, I got this, I believe, over 10 years ago. This is a 2000 game. When I bought it, I did not know, because of the copyright laws with movies and stuff, they put in all these old movies and old actors and actresses. And I have nothing opposed to movies from the 20s and 30s. In fact, I have some of them still in the game, but I didn't know most of them. And when I found on Board Game Geek a paste up where I could paste modern actors over them, I thought that was very fun and funny, so you will see them. So a couple caveats about that. First of all, I pasted these up about 10 years ago, so there's some actors or actresses of movies in here that are not big names today, or maybe vice versa. And the stars of the actors and actresses to say how good they were and everything, well, you know what? It was a paste up on Board Game Geek, so blame that guy, not me, because I didn't go in there and edit them to be the ones I wanted. Like it says, I know some people would argue, oh, this director's not a 4-star director. This actor, okay, whatever. So anyhow, here's how you play. At the beginning of the game, each player gets 12 contracts. Think of these as money. Actually, you only get 10 if it's a 5-player game. You also get a studio, a shield to keep your contract secret behind it, and each of the studios is numbered. Depending on what studio you get some 3 movies. So, for example, if I'm Studio 1, I would get Shrek, Spider-Man, and The Sixth Sense. Each of these movies has a certain number of stars that it starts with, and it's one of 3 types: drama, adventure, and comedy. For example, here's another studio. This one has Back to the Future, Titanic, and Casablanca. Now, there are 4 4-star directors here that are face up on the board. Everything else is in face down piles. And what you'll do at the beginning of each of the 4 years, you're going to go around the board 4 times, is you'll take one of these 4-star directors and place them in Hollywood. So here we put Clint Eastwood here. Then there's 3 here, so we draw 3 tiles to go into this spot, which has 2 musics and Harrison Ford. Here we have 2. So there we put the Coen brothers and an agent. This is a wild tile, basically. Down in this party tile down here, we're going to put 1 for each player. So we'll pretend we're playing a 4-player game, and those go face down. Then down here, we put George Clooney, some special effects, and some more special effects. Then in the next spot here, more special effects and a camera. And then down here, some music and Dr. Carpenter. And then we put 4 more tiles in this last party spot. Now, the way the game works is we start with this spot here, and we basically bid for it. Each person bids, going around a table. One person's giving us to show who starts the bidding, and you bid higher than the next person in last. So 2, 3, 5, 7. Okay, everyone else passes. The guy gets it for 7. So what he does, he takes 7 of his contracts, puts them here, takes Clint Eastwood, and immediately puts Clint Eastwood in his movie. So in this instance, he's putting Clint Eastwood, who is a director, into the director's spot of Back to the Future. If you have no spots to put your director, then you can't put him in your movie. Okay? So you can't put someone in, you just have to discard him if you win. After he puts these 7 here and takes the tiles, whoever wins it will take this because they're the starting bidder for the next one. And the contracts they've done are split evenly between the other players. In this case, there's 4 players. There's 3 other players, so each other player would get 2 contracts. This contract that's not left over, since there's 7 contracts, would be left here, and the next time there's an auction, that would be added to those, and eventually it will be given out to the other players. Then you'll bid on these 3 things. So let's say the same person won it. So he has Back to the Future, directed by Clint Eastwood. Now I have Harrison Ford as a guest star. Guest stars, you can tell because there's a star around the Harrison Ford thing. So guest stars go into a special spot. And then music, but there's no spots for music in Back to the Future. So instead, I'll add some music to maybe my Bambi movie, and then my Dances with Wolves has a few open spots where anything can go, and I'll put that there. So as time goes by, you're going to win different auctions and get these, and if you don't win something, well, at least you'll get contracts from other players. When you get to a party spot, you will turn over the tiles that are there. So in this instance, some special effects, some music, Tarantino, and some more special effects. And whoever has the most red characters on their movies gets to pick first because they have the most connections. So they just take one, and then each other player takes one, and so they do that. So as time goes by, you're just going to go around and around and around, and then you start another year and add these here. But you're going to eventually want to finish some movies. So let's go back to our Back to the Future movie. And let's say that I managed to get some special effects, and I never was able to get a camera, but I was able to get a free agent, and a free agent can go to any part of the movie. And then I have one spot for an actor or an actress here in Back to the Future, and so I managed to get Catherine Zeta-Jones. So we have Clint Eastwood directing Catherine Zeta-Jones with some special effects, and agent, special guest star, Harrison Ford. So what I do then is I count the number of stars in this movie. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. With 13, I go over here and I look for the number 13. There's two 13s, a 13 plus and a 13, so I would take the 13 plus, and I'm going to put that on my movie. My movie is going to be worth 13 points. If I'm the first person to finish a comedy, like Back to the Future, then I'll take the trophy. At the end of the game, this is worth 5 points for the first person to finish a comedy movie for 5 points. And there's one for each of those. The other trophies here, there's 3 small trophies. At the end of each of the first 3 years, whoever has the best movie, the highest number, and remember 13 plus beats a 13. By the way, if both 13s are gone and you do a 13 movie, you have to take a 12, etc., etc. Anyway, whoever's the best movie gets one of these, so 5 at the end of each year. After the end of all 4 years, whoever has the best of each of the 3 genres gets one of these. And then 2 more trophies are given out. One to whoever has the most stars on all their directors, the best directing award, and one to the worst movie. And having a worst movie is good, because you get those 10 points at the end of the game. So sometimes you want to try to get people with as few stars as possible. There's even one actress, Jessica Simpson, who is a negative star, and you can add them to your movies. So, I mean, obviously a lot of the fun of the game is in making the funny movies, and in this one here, we have all sorts of movies from King Kong to Forrest Gump, Braveheart, Galaxy Quest, Big Fish, Shawshank Redemption, Matrix, Lord of the Rings, Schindler's List, Jurassic Park, Clueless, Frankenstein, Saving Private Ryan, and Raiders of the Lost Ark. And then all the different actresses and that are in here. Here we got Tom Cruise, and Tobey Maguire, and Marilyn Monroe, and Jamie Foxx, and Drew Barrymore, and Woody Allen, and Luke Besson. And so there's all sorts of people that are in this, at least my version of the game. Anyway, whoever has the most points, you add up at the end of the game, you add up all your movies, the values of your movies, plus the value of all the trophies you won. Most points is the winner. I didn't mention that when you finish a movie, you get a new movie. So you just draw from a pile of movies, and so you always have 3 movies that you're working on at any given point in time. Now, one of the thing I like about this game is it's hilarious. It's really funny when you talk about Shrek, directed by Spike Lee, starring Harrison Ford. You know, that's funny stuff. Or Spider-Man, starring Catherine Zeta-Jones. You know, things like that can be really humorous and interesting, and we get a kick out of talking about the different directors. John Carpenter directing The Sixth Sense. Well, it's a very, very different movie there at that point. That's funny, and it's entertaining, and it brings a lot of laughs. But the gameplay itself is really good. I really enjoy this auction mechanism, because what happens is when you win auctions and you're paying everybody else. So you're like, oh, I never win an auction. Well, you will eventually, because you will have more than everybody else. And so it works really well. And because of that, it also scales well. Plays well with 3. I really think it's best with 4. Really great game of 4, but 5 is also a lot of fun too. 3 is pretty good too. I'm telling you, it really scales well, and I enjoy the game for that. Would I have enjoyed it as much without the pace it up things? Probably not. In the latest versions in Dream Factory and such, they did parody things, like instead of Jim Carrey, it was Jim Scary. Okay, well that's acceptable, I suppose, although I just like the fact that I was able to paste up the real names. But I'm not producing or publishing this game, so I'm not going to get sued for that either. A really solid, good game. Highly, highly recommend. Traumfabrik, Dream Factory, whatever it's called. A great game about movies.
Thanks so much for watching the Dice Tower videos. Find more great videos and reviews, as well as our top-rated audio podcast at Dicetower.com. You can also find other great shows at Dicetowernetwork.com. I'm Eric Summerer, and you've been watching The Dice Tower. The Dice Tower is sponsored by Cool Stuff Inc., where you can find great games for great prices. Cool stuff in stock. Check them out at CoolStuffInc.com.
Shut the door.